Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of the show. Wait, whoa, guys, did you see that? It was another NBA trade. You just missed it. I swear, I just saw it go right by. That's right, folks. Welcome to another episode of the show of Dad's Turn to Talk. Welcome. Fantastic night. Happy to have everybody here. And what's that, Josh? Are you okay there?
No, you were right about the trade. I just got a pop-up on my phone about another trade.
I literally just pulled it up to see what.
Oh my God, that actually is going to make me run.
That actually did happen?
Yeah. Brandon Ingram to the Raptors.
Brandon Ingram, 7 minutes.
Wow. We got something else to mention here in a minute. So
I know. I wasn't totally full of it. All right.
No, I thought you were serious. No. I seriously thought you were serious. Like it literally popped up.
No, that was a joke. All right, let's.
Gosh, that was his intro, and you ruined it.
You know what, Bobby? Shut up.
God.
Welcome, everybody. And since you can tell how much we like each other based off that last interaction you saw, we'd like for you to like our show. Feel free to click that like button. You get extra credit if you hit the subscribe on the right there. With that, let's go ahead and do the introductions. Welcome back, our returning champion. It's been too long since we talked basketball on this show, and we couldn't do it without our good friend, Gazelle. Welcome to the pod.
Yay!
Finally joining us for NBA talk, which is absolutely necessary. So we're happy to have you back. All right.
Thank you.
Let's get into the other.
Let me get my Warriors blanket ready.
All right. Let's get the rest of the normal hooligans here introduced. Let's start off with a man that values consistency. Josh's favorite term.
I hate that term.
The one and only Bob. Bob, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. I think I might be coming down under the weather. I hope not, but otherwise I'm doing okay. Had some fun last night with you guys doing the Fantastic Four reaction, and it was cool because we're all nerds here.
You bunch of losers!
But otherwise, we had some fun, and it was good to do that with you guys, and let's have some fun tonight.
All right, let's do that. And speaking of walking disease, why don't we take a look at Josh? Hello, Josh.
Oh my God!
Wow,
you are a jerk.
Wow,
disease.
You think I'm harsh on you, man?
I say it out of love, Josh.
You guys heard the text messages I get from Derek on a daily basis. You would be shocked.
You could basically write. You should send them to Kendrick Lamar, and he'll write a diss.
He'll write a Drake song.
Think about like the meanest thing you could say to someone, and then double that. That's Derek to me.
Like I said, I've been.
But don't leave out the fact, Josh, that you start it half the time.
I never said it. Everybody, if you're out there, I'm getting bullied by these two guys. I need your help. Please come and save me. Come on the show. Let them know that they're doing stuff wrong.
Yeah, feel sorry for me, everybody. Feel sorry, audience. Feel sorry for me.
I'm doing great tonight, Derek. I had jury duty today and got out, so I was very happy.
Oh, well, that's good. That's I remember that happened to me last time too. It's always nice when you get that stroke of luck.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, maybe you could have been on Drake's murder trial. It took place last weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Good call.
Right. That would have been interesting.
That could have been fun. All right. Well, on with the first topic of the evening with that introduction. So let's talk about it, Bob, if you would. Oh, good. The blanket's out. So
Blanket's out.
she needed to get that out before we started.
I had to run to get it. It was in the other room.
Great. Well, folks, if you're an NBA fan, then you are probably wondering what in God's name happened in the past 4 days. And if you're not, it's certainly fun to talk about because, man, there have been some moves, major ones. It started this weekend, and it's still going on, apparently, because there was another alert that we just got that I thought I was full of crap with. So now that that's real, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about a lot of NBA trades here that happened, but let's start off with the biggest one. Folks, Luka's going to LA. He's heading out. He's going to wear purple and gold. Who would have thunk it? as well as Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris. But the Mavs, I can't believe I'm reading this. The Mavs receive Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick.
One first-round pick. One.
Just the one. The one will do. One. And the Jazz receive Jalen Hood, Shafino, and 1 second-round pick, and actually 2 second-round picks. One of them is coming from the Clippers. So that's the major stuff that happened over the weekend, and everybody's thinking about the Luka trade being the talk of the town, obviously. G, kick us off. There's a lot to talk about here. Plus, there's a bunch of other stuff we can get into as well, but let's start here.
I still, 3 or 4 days later, do not understand what happened. I don't think anybody does.
Nobody does.
And the why and the how is this going to work? Like nobody knows. Nobody understands. My family is from Los Angeles. My cousin happens to live next door, and he's the biggest Lakers fan. And when I woke up and I saw the news of the trade, very rarely can he hear me if my window's open and his window's open. And I think I may have screamed something like, "What?" And then 2 seconds later, texted him, and he responded with, "I heard you just now. I know." I'm not happy about it. I was like, and it was like the shot heard around the world. Like, I don't, there's so many things. Where do you want me to start? Whether it's a good fit? No. Whether the Mavericks got their pockets picked? Yes.
Continue.
Well, it was the most disrespectful way to treat a franchise player. Yes. Like, just so many things. Like, Europeans already didn't like America before. Now they really fucking hate us.
Well, okay. So your cousin's not a fan of this at all.
No, and I don't think anyone who I understand that they have different styles of play, but ultimately you're talking about what, 3, 4, maybe 5 big players in the NBA of bigs who can shoot, like who can defend and shoot, but are also like the primary shooter. LeBron, Jokic, Luka, off the top of my head. And you would never put those two of those players on the same team. So to take some of the two, but I don't even, and then who's going to score for the Mavericks? It's like Klay Thompson, who I love dearly, but
every 10 games, it only happens every 10 games for Klay.
Every 10 games. Post injury, unfortunately, the injury. I mean, as any player, a 2-year injury would effectively change the trajectory of his career. Let's say, if I want to be kind. And we all love him. I went to the first game that Klay came and played. I wore my cap. We got captain's hats. We were super excited. But like, the Mavericks fans must be feeling. I mean, it's the same. I feel so sorry for any fandom. I may not like your team, but I can appreciate a fandom, an intense fandom. And the Mavericks fans, like, in the middle of the night, he didn't even know. The coach didn't know. The only people who knew were Nico passed on Steph Curry at Nike Williams, and which you can go look that up. And Adelson, who owns the Mavericks, like, I don't understand like where that decision came from. I don't understand how it makes sense for their rotation for this year. If the thought was LeBron is going to retire at the end of this year for sure, and they wanted to bring in like the next leader of the team while the current leader was still there, I guess you could say it sort of kind of could make sense, but in the short term, especially since LeBron does not show any sign of wanting to retire, and they've tried to build their franchise around all of LeBron's picks and coach recommendations for the last couple of years, it just seems for a player that was signed by the Mavericks and has spent his career at the Mavericks and probably expected to pull a Kobe or a Curry and stay at the Mavericks for his entire career. It's just besides the bonkers plays and the rotations that are going to come up with who's left on the team, just as a base level of like human disrespect. Like I can't, that was probably the part that got to me most. Like, I understand the secrecy is necessary and all, but like, I don't think there was ever a shadier deal made in the NBA. Like the way it happened, nobody got to know, anyway, that's, I mean, we're gonna continue to talk about this, but off the top of my head, those are my thoughts.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Josh, let's hear it. What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, Gazelle, about living in LA, and you talked about LeBron. I'm hearing 2 years. So
2 years.
That he might retire. This was shocking to me. When I heard the news, it made no sense. First of all, and Bobby's going to make fun of me for butchering his name. What's his name? How do you pronounce it?
Doncic?
Yeah, Doncic.
Doncic
is injury prone. Like, I don't know why you would bring him in. He was shocked. And I think
he was shocked. He's injured.
He's like, what? I'm leaving? I mean, I've never seen. And this is, I told Bobby this the other day. Nobody knew about this. This was so secretive, Derek. Nobody knew.
No.
That's the biggest thing, is that, in the NFL and, NBA, Major League Baseball, you'll hear rumors. You'll hear, the Lakers are thinking about making this trade. No one would have thought they'd be getting rid of Anthony Davis.
Champs didn't even have a rumor. Like, he had nothing. Like,
no, it's
yeah, that part is just, how they managed to keep it under wraps is shocking.
I personally don't think if Mark Cuban still owned the team, would have done this.
I don't know.
I don't think he would have done it.
I don't think he would have done it either, but was he ever the single owner? Wasn't it always that he was a part owner?
Yeah, that's true. He was it was part ownership.
I thought he was majority owner.
I don't think so. No, I think it was part owner. I think
he was always part owner.
Do you know this?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he was owner. I thought he owned the whole team. And then
he didn't own the whole team.
He was never the full owner. He was, as Derek said, either the majority owner or a part owner. And he still has a tiny shred of it. He's still like sliver owner.
I mean, look, Anthony Davis is a good player. He's going to help Dallas out, but it makes no sense on the Laker front.
Well, he'll help Dallas out defensely.
Correct.
So what's it going to help him from a shooting perspective?
It's not. It's not. And then with the Lakers, I don't know if he'll because it's weird. It was such a weird trade.
The funniest thing I read today. I've read many funny things today, but one of the funniest things about this that I read today was Anthony Davis they were playing Philly.
Okay.
And Embiid, he's mic'd, or somebody read what he was saying. And he says to Embiid, Embiid came back from injury and he was saying something like, oh, I'm not going to get traded because I just got back tonight and I'm healthy. And Anthony Davis told him, dude, if I can get traded after being healthy all season without a moment's notice, you could also get traded after coming back healthy from missing 36 games. Like, for sure, anybody can get traded.
Yeah, everybody's fair game right now.
Yeah, and Schroeder made a comment about it, something being a slave trade market, which I think is there's something to be said for like these people that they have families, they have, friends, like besides just they could have at least given him a little bit of a heads up, like, hey, we're thinking of, but they're so worried about leaks and the surprise factor and like dropping it that like they're not going to go even just on a human level to be like, hey, like in 5 minutes you're gonna be traded. Like fucking something. Like
you may want to think about starting to pack some stuff up, like just right about now.
And an injured player. It's just so crazy.
It's
that type of thing has been happening in sports for a long time. Just look at the movie Moneyball. Where is it they bring that one player in and he has to turn around and say, well, you've been traded. Here's the number of so-and-so. And he's like, okay, just walks out. I mean, it's just business as usual. Now, I think the case is because it's such a blockbuster trade. I think that's why people are like, how did we not know about this?
Yeah.
What you say, I agree with most players. Yeah, everybody moves around. That makes sense. But there's very rarely franchise players. So to not give one of the like 5 franchise players left in the NBA at all who stays with the team the entire career. That's the part that the Steph Currys, the Kobe Bryants, like, you know what I mean? Like there's I can't even think of really Draymond. I mean, there's very few that stay with the same team from the moment they're drafted. You could probably count it in the NBA right now. I think it was Luka and Steph. It was nobody else, and Draymond. There was nobody else. Even so, I think that's the part that's like, I mean, it's you're Dennis Schroeder. It doesn't even unpack his suitcase. But, other people like.
It's crazy. It would have been like Jordan being traded in 1993 to like Seattle or something. Like it just isn't like, it's crazy.
God, remember when Seattle had a team? Those were the days.
I know, right? Isn't that funny how I mentioned Seattle?
Funny that's the first team you thought of.
Yeah, I don't know why. Isn't that? I could have mentioned. Well, no, the first team I thought of was New York, but that would have never happened.
I mean, I would say this is probably on par. You could say this would be like if Chicago traded Michael Jordan to the Knicks
for Patrick. Right?
I don't know, Muggsy.
No, right? Probably would have been for Patrick Ewing.
There was actually a point where they were considering a possibility of a trade, and if you look it up, there was actually a possibility at one point, and it just never.
Between the Knicks and the Bulls for Patrick Ewing.
No, not necessarily for Patrick Ewing, but there was a possibility of Jordan actually going to the Knicks at one point. So
why does that sound familiar? All of a sudden,
that does sound familiar
because it's a thing. So
that does sound familiar.
For Starks.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you who it was for because I just don't know off the top of my head. But I remember reading about it that there was a possibility he could end up in New York at one point. So I don't remember at what point that was in his career, but there was a time where they considered it. So.
Well,
Bob, since you're talking, you've been quiet until just now. Let's get your thoughts on this trade.
Well, I think this trade makes absolute perfect sense. And honestly, I was scratching my head on this one too. I think in the short term, it could benefit Dallas because they'll get some better defense, assuming that Kyrie steps up and is that scorer. And he doesn't request a trade or something like that. But there's always the possibility that they might actually be better on defense. And Davis should be a solid scorer. I mean, he's always been a solid scorer. So I don't think from an offensive standpoint they're going to lose a ton. Where I don't think it helps them I don't think it helps them in the long term.
No,
and it doesn't make any sense. I mean, to get rid of a star the caliber of Luka, I understand they say, well, there were conditioning issues, and I know Josh, you say he's injury prone, but I don't think he was that injury prone. I mean, it was a calf strain. It's not like it was not like it was a major injury. Half the time, these guys they choose to sit them because they don't want them to get to aggravate an injury even more. They're cautious with them. When you're paying a guy $250 million, you're gonna be a little bit more cautious with him. So I think that's part of what's going on there. As far as the Lakers go, this does not help them short term at all. I think that this season's pretty much a wash. But I do think long term that this helps them because you do get a star to come in there and build around once LeBron goes. And I know, Josh, you say you're hearing 2 years, but we all know that at one point a player can turn around and say, "Nope, I'm done." I mean, he could do that at the end of the season. I don't think that's the case. I think he'll play at least another year or two, but he could do that. So, I mean, I think you got a player you can build around, and we all know how talented Luka is, and boy, the guy is a clutch shooter under pressure. So,
let him.
So they got somebody who can be a star, who has star power, especially for the LA market. So I think
the LA market, there's very.
I think that a star of his caliber is perfect for the Lakers, not this season, but long term. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Lakers benefit out of this a lot more than Dallas does. I think the losers here are Dallas, the Mavericks. I just don't see how this benefited them long term, especially because Luka was still in his 20s, and they're getting a player in Anthony Davis who's what is he, 32, 33 years old? And I'm not saying that, and not saying that he's old, but
that's up there in NBA age.
And he's definitely been injury prone.
Now he's had a lot more serious injuries where Luka hasn't really had a serious injury. So, and in fact, they say that a lot of Luka's kind of minor injuries, their concerns were it really comes down to his conditioning. And if he were just to condition himself better, then he wouldn't have a lot of those. So I'm just saying it's not like he's coming back from an ACL tear or a shoulder surgery or something like that. These aren't the types of issues that Luka has.
How do you all think the chemistry is going to be with him and LeBron?
I don't think it's going to be that great, at least not early on, because again, you got two players here, both of whom can play the point guard position, and both are small forwards. I mean, they're practically the same position. Now, I think LeBron will continue to be LeBron. I think it'll still be his team, but I'm curious to see. I am curious to see what the chemistry will look like, but I don't think it's going to mesh that well. I mean, they're practically the same player, except I think LeBron's better on defense.
The part that I think is going to be interesting, very, very interesting, is that Luka has been big man on campus. The team has been, he's the star of that team. He's the number one of that team. And now he's coming in a little cut down, feeling a little slighted, and coming into a team where he's not at all not besides having one of the greatest players of history on your team at the same moment, like the sort of storied franchise of the Lakers and all these rings and the legacy and all these, he's I think he's probably going to feel pretty humbled for a bit. And that, I don't know how that's going to work, because part of what Luka's game is being a little cocky. And so, I'm curious about how that's going to affect his game, for a little while, at least for a little.
We'll get our first look at it supposedly next week, because they're saying that initially he was eyeing a return around February 8th. And now they're saying it'll probably be like the 10th or the 12th is what they're looking at with the based on the Lakers schedule. So
I mean,
get a look at that next week.
It's going to be a rough end of the season for the Lakers. I would be shocked if they stayed within playoff contention and didn't drop. But maybe they will. Maybe they'll get into the play-in. I don't know. But I think that I do think it's going to be interesting to watch the psychology of that. He's in a small market team, a big fish in a small pond, to being a kind of a small, medium-sized fish in a very, very large pond. I mean, that's
Well, next to LeBron, he is a medium fish because again, you're talking about a guy who's on the Mount Rushmore of the NBA. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like that's how bizarre it is. It's like for him to feel dwarfed at all is weird. Like to not be the only. It's they literally built. That's the other thing I don't understand about the Mavericks. It seems like they had built the current team with Luka in mind for long-term strategy. Like they brought I don't that's the part I don't get.
Unless they know something that we don't.
Unless they know something that we don't.
I mean, I get what you're saying, Gazelle. I mean, this is a team that went to the finals last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. They traded for Clay. They got, a couple other play. Like they could have gotten, a little bit of a better bench, and they could be right. They could have been right back in there, right? So it seems like I kind of even forgot with all this news that they were in the finals last year. Like,
I know
it's just a strange thing to do to like.
I had to look that up. I'm like, wait, weren't they?
I mean, they literally tore out the intestine of the team. Like it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Can I tell you a couple funny jokes I read?
Please.
About the Mavericks, about how everybody has been dogging on the Mavericks in this trade so much. The funniest things I was seeing was like what they were going to trade the rest of the team for. So it was like in the same style, it was like the Dallas Mavericks have traded Klay Thompson for a carne asada burrito and a Toyota Camry.
That's funny.
And then like 2 seconds later, the Dallas Mavericks have traded Kyrie Irving for a Nissan Sentra and a bag of gummy bears. Like it all.
It's so bad.
It's pretty great.
Derek, what do you think about it? You haven't talked.
Well, okay, because most of the stuff you're saying, I think, adds up.
Yeah.
I remember looking at this trade, and the first thing I thought, was the only reason you do something like this is to have the next guy ready for when LeBron calls it.
Right.
It's the only reason you do something like that.
Yeah.
And until then, Luka's going to have a seat right on that chair. He's going to go, "Yay, boss man," because LeBron owns that team.
Yeah.
Right. And LeBron's going to keep playing until he says, "I've had enough. You can put him in now." That's what it's going to be. And I would have loved to have been a fly on the room and seen how Dallas felt about themselves, like patting themselves on the back after that trade. Like, guys, we did it. Job well done. Let's head home. Like,
oh my God. You played your best player.
They were the ones who approached. They wanted
to get rid of him.
Davis.
Yeah.
And they approached, and what I read was that the Lakers, or I think it was the Lakers GM, laughed when he first said, "What will you give us for, we want Anthony Davis? Like, how can we make that happen?" And the guy like laughed in his face, and then he said, like, "Well, what if we were willing to give you Luka?" And then it was like, "Oh, this is actually he's talking for real." Like, like. So
you're right too. I mean, short term, I think they make a play-in, and that's probably at best. I don't think they're going to go much further than that at all. But short term, no gain. Dallas is okay. Bob had a great comparison that I think I should bring up. Dallas got a move like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom, where they pulled like that heart, right, reached in and ripped it out, and just looked at it sitting there beaten. And so now Dallas is just pretty much done, I think, for the next 3 to 5 years. I can't see him doing any better than that unless one of these picks becomes like their magic. But good luck with that. It's like playing the lottery. So
I mean, literally, if you're Dallas, you're going for the lottery now. You're trying to.
That's what you're playing for.
One pick. They got one first round pick. Not even two. Not even three. Like they could have at least asked for picks. They didn't get picked. Whatever.
No, there's not much more to say other than that. You guys did a great job saying it all. I'm with you. I remember reading that. It was a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Like, of all times, I'm just like, whoa, hold on. There's no way what I'm reading is real here. And
it's so weird.
Sure
Everybody
enough,
thought it was fake. Everybody thought it was fake.
yeah,
news.
I had to go on ESPN. I'm like, is this legit? And sure enough, it was very legit. You turn on the TV, that's all everybody's talking about. I'm like, oh my God, this actually happened.
Well, the news writer from ESPN posted it, and everyone thought he was lying.
Everybody thought he was lying. Shams. Yeah, everybody thought Shams was lying, and he was like, "No, I'm not punking you all. This is true."
I swear this is legit, folks. All right. Well, good luck, LA. Just taking it as you usually do. Throw money at it. That'll help. And
well, they didn't. That's the point. They didn't throw money at it.
No, they didn't do anything. They just said, "Okay, we'll take him." It's Dallas who looks bad.
Well, I know, but here's the thing. LA always has the way of getting stars. That's what they think works for a successful basketball team. And that's what their business model is. So that's why they took Luka, which who has a love interest in Anthony Davis on the Mavericks? I would love to know.
Yeah.
Nico Williams.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, the GM.
There you go. Okay, so enjoy that, Mr. Williams. There's not much more to say other than that. It was a weird deal. It was crazy, and no one really seems to benefit from it. So
Did you see the interview with the coach and the GM and everything?
Oh my God!
afterwards?
Talk about the most awkward moment.
Here, check this out.
God.
Conference?
Check this out. I actually brought a clip of it here. Check this out.
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
it was one of those.
I knew it. It was.
Oh my God! I thought you were actually going to show it. I totally fell for it.
Let me ask you guys this. Is Bronny still in developmental, or is he back on the main roster?
Yeah, he's still in the G League.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they brought him out for like half a game, and then they were like, "No, you're going to go back to the G League."
Yeah, no, I think they made that pretty clear.
Very.
I think even Dad was just like, "Okay, dude, no,
Yeah.
come here right now." No,
Yeah.
it's all right. He'll get a shot one of these days. Well, that was just one of the deals. We wanted to go. I mean, Gazelle has many thoughts on one thing that happened in particular today, so we'll give her a moment to talk about that. But there was a lot of trade action. So, G, why don't you kick us off with the big news, Dubs wise, and then we'll see if you get anything else that give you a surprise and talk to the rest of the gents after that.
I mean, I'm going to say that it wasn't news to me. It was a prayer answered that I have been wishing for several. I actually wish, like, for New Year's Eve, we're like, "What's your resolution?" I was like, "I don't have a resolution. I have a wish. I want Jimmy Butler." When people ask me for Christmas, like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I was like, "I want like Jimmy Butler for the Warriors for Christmas." Like, I didn't have another wish. I didn't care about anything else that was going on. So for me, it was like a TikTok of like, "Hello, Dunleavy, your time is running out, bro." He made us nervous. Is the trade deadline midnight tonight?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
Let me check real quick.
Yeah,
It's the 6th at midnight. But does that mean the part that I don't remember is if they say the 6th at 11:59, which would make it.
It looks like that the trade deadline, it says February 6th. This is at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, so I'm guessing at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
okay.
Hold
So it
on.
looks like there's still a few
Just
more
got-
hours on it.
Tomorrow midday. I thought I had read something about 11:59 that it was at like midnight.
At least that's what it's saying here that I'm looking at. So,
Well, that's the thing is I think I was under the impression that it was midnight tonight. If it was the 6th, then it's usually midnight on that, when it becomes that day. So today, like I quite literally at work was refreshing the ESPN guys feed like every 5 minutes, waiting for some news and texting Derek partially through that, like, what like, what you doing, buddy? Like, time's ticking. I mean, still needed somebody. I always hoped it would be Butler, but I think that the talk was always it was going to be Durant or Fox or Butler. Fox didn't wanted a longer term, and he probably wanted to go to San Antonio, where he landed.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody saying that LeBron was going to come to the Warriors was full of crap.
No,
that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No.
Or Steph is going to leave, also the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But yeah, I honestly thought it was, by this morning, I was sure that it was going to be Durant, because they played together before. They played at the Olympics. You know, they were vibing. You know, he was feeling Steph's joy. He was feeling like joy in playing basketball instead of being downtrodden like he's been lately. But and I'm sure maybe he feels like he missed out. But Butler, I think, is the better fit because he plays good defense and he adds to offense in the way that the Warriors need. And if we want to get, you know, Steph probably has two. I mean, I think he will stay in the league, but he has maybe 2 to 4 like really good, 2 to 3 like really good years, 2 good years, 4 like you know, if the last 2 years might be but as he gets older and his ankles start to break like glass. But I mean, I think that you know, we could probably get another ring with one other really good player and Draymond and a solid bench, and Jimmy Butler is that player. So to me, I don't understand the folks who are like, oh, I don't think that's a good fit. I'm like, tell me how it's not a good fit. Other than Kevin Durant as another option, like I can't think of anybody else who would be as good of a fit. So
I did see where Kevin Durant actually said no. He decided he didn't want to go back to Golden State.
He's in Phoenix.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. They said he was like in major talks, and then all of a sudden it was over. But they said the same thing about Jimmy Butler. They said they were in major talks, and then it was over, and then my dreams were crushed, and then I moved on from that dream. And then I read something that gave me hope, which is that a lot of times they'll say it's over as like a fake out to like make it more exciting. And some commentator said something like, don't, like, anytime you read something like these talks are over, like, don't believe it until the deadline is passed. And so I saw the Butler thing. I tried to believe that guy was true. Then I saw the Durant thing today, and I was like, well, they can't both not be doing it. So like one of them is going to come through at the end. So like, I just thought that in the end, in a coin flip, I thought it was going to end up being Durant just because of the previous relationship. You know.
All right. Well, there is that take. What about you, gents? Josh, let's start with you. Anything that surprised you?
I think Ingram going to Toronto could help them. I mean, they've won only 16 games this season, but you know, it gives them a little notoriety. I don't know if they can, you know, do something, but I think that will, you know, I think that was a good trade by, you know, Toronto. I think Butler going to Golden State definitely is going to help them.
Wiggins to the Heat.
That's odd.
That's right. And I thought there was something else. My phone popped up when we were talking about the Lakers. If they did something else, like swapped a pick with the Hornets. But did you guys hear anything?
No, there's been so many other like smaller things that have been happening all day. The big ones I heard was PJ Tucker left the Clippers and went, I think, to the Jazz, now left the Jazz and is now back at the Lakers. I don't know how, like a couple people like bounced around twice in 2 days. Schroeder is now went to the Heat in this Butler trade, but then immediately went, there was like a five-team, 5-way trade. And now Schroeder is on the Jazz, which got announced 20 minutes before the Warriors played the Jazz. Which is really
now, Josh, you mentioned that this was a trade with the Lakers and the Hornets, you said?
Something, but I cannot find it, Bob.
So this is just in, that the Lakers are trading Dalton Knecht, and Cam Reddish, 2031 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap to the Hornets for center Mark Williams. And Mark Williams, he's a 7'2" center. So This is a guy that if you're bringing in a Luka, you're getting a big at least to try to get some of the of what you're losing from Anthony Davis back in there. And Luka's known to work real well with bigs. So, I mean, maybe that helps the Lakers get back on track a little bit. But this guy's not even, I don't think, on the same level as Anthony Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis, you're talking about an all-star here. So, I don't know. We'll see how that looks.
I mean, when the Lakers got him from the Pelicans years ago, we all went nuts.
Yeah. The Pelicans were pissed that they lost him.
Yeah.
Now the Lakers fans are pissed that they lost him. I mean, he's been a solid clutch player for every team he's played on.
Quite a long while.
It is amazing how many good players I think the Lakers have gotten rid of. And imagine if they were still there, because wasn't Ingram there? Ball was there. Imagine if they had kept those guys.
Yeah. Well, Ingram was one of the ones they had to give up to get Anthony Davis.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. Valanciunas went to the Kings, so I guess the Kings got something for losing Fox.
The one that I did find interesting, G, was the one that happened with the Bucks.
Oh yeah, that was another one.
Yeah,
Chris Middleton.
Yes,
Chris Middleton got traded today for Kyle Kuzma.
And AJ Johnson got the trade, and now I think it's Patrick Baldwin Jr. that's heading over there.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that one at all. It didn't seem like the Bucks needed to do any trading, but I guess anything was fair game.
You mentioned the Kuzma trade earlier today. I saw this meme that has that it said this was Kuzma going to the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's got Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley both holding up their titles, and then right between them comes R-Truth holding up his title, and they're saying that was Kuzma trying to come into Milwaukee because he's coming into a team that's already got Giannis and Damian Lillard.
They're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's used to that though. After being, Schroeder, I'm looking at all this. It's just kind of crazy, like how much activity happened in one day. Like, it's a lot of trades.
If you think about everything that happened between Saturday and today, it's pretty nuts. And like, it hasn't even like fully shaken out yet. So what does next week look like? That'll be interesting. I can't wait to see what that's going to happen and what that kind of action is going to give us. So I don't know. Josh, anything else you want to talk about just in terms of trades? You good?
No, it was just shocking. Still shocked about the Laker one. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that one is the one that's reverberated around the world. I mean, even I have more to say about that one than the Butler one, because the Butler one, like I said, I manifested it. I knew it was
coming. Go ahead, Bob. Any last minute thoughts?
So two things. The first thing is after hearing Gazelle made me realize that I need that clip of Drew McIntyre saying, "I prayed for this to happen." So I need to have that clip on the show for stuff like that.
I prayed for this.
The second thing is, the Butler trade. I mean, it's understandable that he was going to get traded. I mean, right? He was suspended. He was on his third suspension. There's the two the two parties, him and the Heat. There was just not going to be any reconciliation there whatsoever. So it was clear he was going to go. I think it's a decent fit for Butler, and I think that it does help Golden State in the long run because they needed something to give him a spark, and he's the type of player that can come in and do that. So I think it's a good fit for them. I kind of like Fox to the Spurs. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I think that's going to work with.
That was the best trade of the week.
I really like that one. I think he's a good fit there. He's going into a team that's got a lot of young talent, especially there at center. And so I think they're going to be that. I think that's was a cool trade. The rest of it, some of it was shocking, some of it maybe not quite so much. Obviously, the Luka Davis trade, again, it was a shocking trade. We'll see how it plays out. Overall, I'm curious to see if anything big will pop up over the next 24 hours or, less than 24 hours now. We'll see how it happens. Or we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Fox was a 5-year deal.
I'm not quite sure what
I
the
think
deal
it was
was.
4 or 5. Yeah, it was a longer term deal. That's
It was a
what
longer term. Yeah, that was what sold him. Go ahead, G.
I was gonna say, I think that so many people were talking about this that I had, women or other women were like, "Can you put this in girl terms? Like, what is the Luka trade?" And the funniest answer to that I saw was, "This would be like if Destiny's Child traded Beyonce for T-Boz from Chile, from TLC, like,
That's a great
analogy. Like,
That's a great analogy.
in girl world, if you were gonna put it in girl terms.
That's how we would translate.
That's crazy.
I mean, I think I was just trying to say, like, I think you guys have some footage of Draymond and Butler trying to play together at practice, maybe.
I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys what G sent me. Yeah, I'll show you guys that later. I can't get it up right now, but G, I'm gonna just say one thing about Jimmy Butler. He's gonna get in a fight with Draymond on the first practice. He's gonna get suspended for doing something stupid. It's not gonna be valuable to us because he's not gonna be on the court.
I was going to say that. Like, is he going to stay out of trouble?
I'd be more worried about Draymond staying out of trouble. Jimmy Butler, I don't recall him being a troublemaker or anything until this year. I think that's why I say that there were some actual issues here. I'm not saying that Jimmy Butler was the model citizen or anything, but I don't recall him having all these multiple suspensions year in and year out. So, I mean,
no, multiple suspensions, no.
He has a tendency of souring on the team that he's on after like 2 or 3 years because he's not getting something or getting enough attention. He did it in, was it Minneapolis? Was it Minneapolis, Minnesota? I can't remember.
He did it with Chicago.
Chicago.
He did it in Chicago. He did it with the Sixers, right? Like,
yeah, he did.
Yeah. In all fairness, though, I mean, he was with Miami for quite some time, so.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been with Miami for a little while. So.
Yeah, and my response to Derek on this was, we need him for 2 years, like really, like, and I think that he would do very well at the Warriors front office and their culture for 2 years. Like, even with Draymond there, I think they probably both know each other, and outside of like this world, because Draymond is such a big talker and he's trying to secure his broadcaster's contract for the next step. So, it's not like he's going to go and punch the guy again. I mean, I think he sees him more as an equal. It's not some peon coming like Jordan Poole, like coming to stepping up to him. Like, I think they're on equal footing. So it might be a little bit different.
I didn't realize how long Butler's been in the league. 2011.
Yeah, he's
been around for a while.
Yeah. He's probably this is going to be his last hurrah too.
Yeah. Gee, if I'm wrong, I will be glad I am wrong. Okay, I will tell you that, and I will be more than happy to walk up to you and say, here are my words. I am eating them. I am dipping them in Tabasco, and I am chewing them accordingly.
Actually, I have a different request.
Okay.
Yes.
I would like that when you are wrong, that you sport a Jimmy Butler Warriors jersey.
Wow.
That's fine. I'll sport one of those. But if I'm right, we're going to have this conversation again.
We will have this conversation again.
And then we'll see. Well, no, okay. You say that right now. You say that right now.
I know. I knew it. I knew this was coming. I manifested this. It's coming. You'll see.
Okay.
There's a ring.
Answer, right?
There's a ring with a Jimmy Butler jersey in my future.
I know. Have you bought one yet? You probably did, didn't you?
I actually looked already. Yes, I did.
Thank you. All right. We've talked about this long enough, I believe. We do have to get on with the rest of the evening. G, you are more than welcome to stay on with us for this next section because it has to do with the Super Bowl. If you want to talk about it, but you don't have to either. It's up to you. What would you like to do?
Are you talking about the Super Bowl as in the teams, or will you also be talking about the magnificence that will be the halftime show?
No, we're just gonna be giving our predictions. So
Oh, well, I'm interested to hear some of it. I'm
All
right.
curious.
All right,
Nice.
stick around.
Taylor Bowl Part 3.
Yes. Stick around, stay a while. Bob, let's get to the topic if we could, please. Oh, God. This, whatever this is. All right. Yes, the next Super Bowl is coming. It's going to be on Sunday. It's going to be the Eagles versus the Chiefs. Yay. Forward of this, I'm looking. This is going to be
Did you
great.
hear what Kittle said? I'd rather watch paint dry than watch this game.
That's
Isn't
my
that funny?
point.
I'd rather watch paint dry.
Well, he was he was Pro Bowling it up last weekend, wasn't he? Yeah, he was there. Yeah. All right. Well,
I don't really pay attention to football, but I do have a question.
sure.
Would this be the third time that the Kansas City Chiefs have beaten the Bills to get into the Super Bowl, or just the second time?
I think this is the third time. Well, I know they've beaten them in the playoffs. What, 3 or 4 times?
Yeah,
but I think this
On there
this might be the third time that they've actually beaten them to go to the playoff, like in the championship game.
I know it's happened
They are-
twice, last year and this year. What I can't remember is if it happened the year.
I'm wanting to say there was
Josh
one
Allen
other.
is 0-3 against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
So yeah, there you go. Which was the best? There was one that was maybe like one of the best football games of all time. Was that the second time?
That was last year. Even I
That
remember that. I saw that. That was crazy. Yeah.
That was unreal. Yeah, unfortunately, Josh Allen just can't get it done. And we
He's gotta
thought,
have someone else beat them.
well, Bob said it. I think I said it too. I really thought this was going to be the year he did it,
I did too.
and just did not happen. He can't get over that hump.
Someone said the other day, Derek, Joe Burrows has to beat Mahomes.
Well,
And-
he's the only one that has.
And that way Josh Allen can go in. But if you ask Bob, Bob says no, it's the hunt.
No, okay, no, Josh.
For the win.
Again, you're taking
Here we
my
go.
words
What? No,
and you're
you
twisting
said-
them.
you
No,
said
no.
you always-
What,
no,
no.
no,
What I
Bob,
said is
Bob, you are
players
so
want.
wrong.
No,
Yes,
no.
that's what I was about to say. I was just about to say it. You won't let me. Get up. Say it again. You know I'm right.
Okay.
I'm the
No,
champ.
Josh.
I'm
What
with
I'm
you.
saying is that they want to beat the
Yes,
Chiefs.
that's what you were. Yes, I know that.
They don't want Burrow to beat them. They don't want any of that.
Yes.
They want to be the ones to do it. That's what a
Right.
champion wants to do.
I get
You got to beat the best team in your mind. It's like Jordan with the Pistons. He wanted to beat the Pistons. In his mind, that's how they got to the championship. If somebody else had beaten the Pistons and then they went to the playoffs or to the championship, he'd have been pissed off because he wanted to beat the Pistons.
Right.
And that's where.
And when the Lakers wanted to beat the Celtics, Magic wanted to beat Bird. It wasn't as good
Yeah.
as it didn't win.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying is that it's not that they have to beat the somebody else has to be. They want to do it. That's who they want to play. They want to get over that hump.
Okay, Bob.
It's their what? Oh God, there's a name for that. The one you can't.
It's their Achilles heel.
That's
and
it.
they
Thank
need-
you.
And they want to try to get over that hump.
Oh man. Well, one of these days, Josh. One of these days. Not that Josh, the one that can play football. Anyway.
Wow. Okay. Hey,
So
who's
let's-
the fantasy football champ here? Not
Nobody
you.
cares.
What about
Hey, note the key
Eagles?
word: fantasy.
What about the Eagles? How the hell did that happen again?
Well, okay. So Bob made a very good point about this, and gee, you're just jumping into it, but Philadelphia's actually been good all season. They were just very quiet about it. No one was really paying attention to them. Well, everybody had their eyes on other things. Philly was just beating people, and all of a sudden they're like, what, like 11-2? There's whoa, how did that happen? And then people started to take a little bit more notice. But yeah, they absolutely stomped Jaden Daniels into the ground in order to walk their way into the Super Bowl. So that was them. They were good. They've been a good team all season long. Just people haven't paid attention. That was it.
Yep.
Everybody was more convinced about the Cinderella story of the Detroit Lions because they hadn't been in it forever. Is Patrick Mahomes going to three-peat? There were a lot of other stories going around, and Philly was just like, okay, well, you guys enjoy that. We're just going to kick this team's ass this week, and that's what they did. So that's how Philly got back into it. But, all right. Cannot begin to express how little of interest I have in this. I might join George to see how that paint is drying. Wonder if he's still down in Palo Alto. I think he's running a house down there. But it doesn't mean we won't talk about what our predictions are here. So, Josh, go ahead. Tell us what you think.
Jeez, I'm a little torn. God, it is so difficult to three-peat. It really is. Yet nobody has really talked about Kansas City this year. Everyone's like, they're barely getting by. And here they are back in the Super Bowl. And then you've got the Eagles, who Bobby knows darn well. I always say, in baseball, the hottest team who can pitch tends to win it all. It happened with the Red Sox years ago. Oh,
happened with the Giants too, by the way, back in 2012, if I could.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I'm going to say history's made. I think KC wins. I hate to say it. I just think that until someone puts them down, you got to pick them. They're the favorites.
How much is it? Wait, oh gosh, I should have this up. I'm usually the one that does this. What's the spread on this game right now?
I think it's like 3 or something.
Is it?
I'll look it up real quick.
Okay.
I thought it was 3 points, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's going to be close.
What was it last year? Didn't these same two teams play last year?
No, it was 2 years ago.
The year before last year, I think.
Yeah.
Am I right on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So right now the spread is 1.5 for Kansas City.
Yeah.
And it looks like that the over-under is 49. So total point total of 49 points.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think until KC, I'll be glad if Philly wins. But you guys asked for my prediction. I think KC will win 27-24 in regulation.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Okay. Bob, to you.
What you've got going on here is the same thing that we had the last time these two teams played. You have the team with the best roster against the team that has the most elite quarterback in the NFL and the best coach. And the thing is Kansas City consistently gets the benefit of calls to go their way.
Yep.
I mean, we've talked about, or you hear everybody talk about the refs and the role that they play. And I don't think it's this case where, there's all these conspiracy theories that the NFL is paid off to make sure the Chiefs win. No, I think it's just the fact that when you become the best and you're the best at it, and you see this in a lot of sports, the players that are elite or the teams that are elite, they get the benefit of the calls. That's just the case that it is in a lot of sports. And I think that's what you see with Kansas City. On the flip side, like I said, I think the Eagles have the best roster. They got the best running back who has been shown that he can run over anybody. And plus they have several weapons in the passing game. When they're down there on that 1 yard line, you've got that tush push. That you can't stop that. Not with Jalen Hurts. So at the end of the day, I think what it's going to come down to is which team is going to have the better defense to show up, because I do think there's going to be some scoring in this game. I'm going to take the spread was 1.5 for Kansas City. I have been saying all season that I thought they would falter towards the end. I thought they'd falter in the playoffs. They actually made it to the Super Bowl. I'm still going to hold to that, and I'm going to say they're going to falter here. I would not bet against Patrick Mahomes. Like I'm not going to put money on this, but I'm going to take the Eagles in the upset, and I think they're going to win this thing. And I will say I'll say 31-28.
Okay.
Pretty high scoring. All right.
Well, I think there's going to be some scoring here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
Which would make for an exciting Super Bowl.
Let's
that's really all we can hope for now. If there's going to be anything of interest in this, that it's a good game.
No.
Right?
Kendrick Lamar will be the highlight.
He ain't going to save this. Okay. G, do you have any thoughts on the game itself? Any interest in the teams? Do we care?
I mean, I think I have heard the conspiracy theory that the NFL wants Kansas City in the Super Bowl because of Taylor Swift and all the ratings and all that shit. I've read some of that funny stuff. I feel like I'm gonna say Kendrick Lamar plays Not Like Us only twice.
Yeah.
Drake falls over of a coronary during the game. I actually think that they will three-peat just because the story is a really good story, and they've had the benefit of that story for all of this, and I don't know. I think it'll be if there's a lot of if it's a high-scoring game, that'll be fun to watch. I think defensive games are obviously kind of boring.
Yeah.
For people who are not big football fans. I'm going to take Kansas City for the win, and I don't really understand spreads, so I'm going to go with 27 to 21.
All right.
All right. So
Nice.
okay. That's pretty good.
27 is my lucky number, though, so I'm always going to bet 27.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Go ahead. I'm August 27th, and I think you're March 27th, so it should probably both be our number. If not, I'm thinking about this. All right.
Yeah, Derek, let's hear it.
Oh, he's gonna do it again. He's gonna three-peat.
Yeah, well, I'm shocked. I thought you'd go with Bobby on Philly.
Well, look, if that does happen, then it proves that yes, they did have the best roster.
Yeah.
They were the most comprehensive team, but I remember they said that about the 49ers a couple of years ago when the Chiefs were playing them. This is the best roster in football, and look what happened.
Well, that's why I say Mahomes is the most elite quarterback.
You don't bet against him.
You don't bet against him because when you got a player of that talent, he finds a way to lift everybody up to that level, even if they're not the best roster. So
it's a good point.
Take that for what that's worth.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because Bob talks about the best roster. You have A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
You've got Devontae Smith. You've got Saquon Barkley. But then you look at Kansas City, and it's funny because someone said the other day, Kansas City picked up Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins, for very little. But it's still a great player. It's like they can take these players and with great coaching are able to just go all out.
Well,
it's not that having the best roster.
But it's not that Kansas City has a bad team. I don't think anybody's saying that either. Yeah.
They have a great team.
So
look.
Go ahead.
Hopkins was at one point an elite wide receiver. He hasn't been quite that over the last couple of seasons, but he was an elite wide receiver. Worthy is developing into a great player, and then you've got Hollywood Brown. So you got wide receivers that are pretty good. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying at any given point, I could make an argument that A.J. Brown is the best wide receiver in football. I'm not saying that he is, but I could make an argument for him.
Especially what he did last week.
And it would be a valid argument. Jalen Hurts, he's a decent quarterback. I mean, he can, especially he's a great dual threat. Saquon Barkley, there is no argument there. He is the best running back in football.
That's true.
Right.
Their defense over the last what was it? Over the last 10 games of the season was like the best defense in football.
Yeah.
Or one of them. So that's why I say that I think they have the best roster. But on the flip side, you have the most elite quarterback and probably the most elite coach. And they already beat the best roster in the Eagles once, because nobody would argue that they didn't have the best roster that year too.
And I will say this. This is also where Philly could get them. Kansas City's defense has dropped in terms of quality a little bit. They've shown some vulnerability, so they can be played upon. So if this roster that Philly has starts getting hot, that it's probably good. I think it's going to be in that dimension, just because they've exposed Kansas City's defense weakness.
Look, I think we can all say if Philly wins, great. But if KC wins, we're not surprised.
I think that's probably what it is.
Simple as that.
And well, not to mention the couple of times that Kendrick Lamar is going to sing his hits, and then we're going to watch Drake, go to the hospital, shaking it.
I'm a crip walk right now.
Oh, by the way, point of order, Bob. You said the best coach. The best coach is Ryan Day. So let's make sure we have.
That's a good point.
Oh, wow.
We're talking a generational coach. Now he's not in this game, but he already won a championship.
Did you see Chip Kelly left Ohio State now, went to the Raiders?
Mm-hmm. Because when you coach under a generational coach like Ryan Day, you're able to get another job.
You understand greatness.
Exactly. When I won fantasy, I called Ryan Day, and he.
Oh
When I go play next year and I retire and teach you guys how to win, we'll see how many times you get rid of me.
Oh, Josh.
Oh, you don't even know yet. There's so many times we can get rid of you.
Josh won. He practically won in the lottery, and he's
I am the best.
No.
I am the best.
How many times have you won fantasy football, Josh?
This year, well, I won the whole thing, and I won 9 times.
Hey, and how'd you finish? Hold on, real quick, Josh. How'd you finish in your other league?
We're not talking about my other league.
No, because she asked a question. How many times have you won in fantasy football? So you might have won in our league. How did you do in your other league? Because in my other league, I came up runner-up. So
I've won before. I've won.
How did you come in this year in your other league?
I lost in the first round.
Okay. See, I actually came in runner-up in my other league. So
but we're not talking about this.
No. My point is that answers her question.
Let me know. Was
you're bragging, but you're leaving out the fact that you were a loser.
Giselle was asking about this one. You're just trying to change it up.
She didn't ask about just this one. She asked how many times you've won in fantasy football.
You know I'm the champ. You hate it. That's why you keep taking me off this thing, because it drives
I take you off because it's funny.
No, it's driving you crazy. You're up
I was waiting for it. This time I knew it was coming.
Keep it up.
Bob has good timing. This will come to find out on
every night. You're just praying to God. God, why did Josh have to?
There it is again. He shuts his computer.
Oh, no.
We all love Josh here. We do.
Josh went to his room. He's going to pout.
See, Josh, you missed it. I actually said we love you.
I heard you. I heard you.
All right. Well, folks, I think we can wrap it up here. It sounds like we made our predictions. I have a feeling that we're going to have to look at Taylor Swift cry up in that booth again for the third time.
Oh my God!
He's going to be wearing.
What they should do is take bets on who her guests are going to be, because it's always like somebody random. Last time it was Ice Spice, because Ice Spice was. Now you bet she is not friends with Ice Spice this year anymore. So now it's like who's in the new who's the new hot? Yeah, I bet it'll be like. I'm gonna bet Sabrina Carpenter and
the cast of Wicked.
The cast of Wicked. Oh, yes. It'll be those two. Yes, it'll be those two. Yes, the cast of Wicked. 100%, Derek. Great call. That's exactly who it'll be. It'll be Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande for sure.
That would be hilarious.
Right.
That would be epic.
Well, there it is. G,
All right.
we have always appreciated your feedback. We look forward to getting you on here
You're
next
awesome.
time. You are not going to want to stay on for these next two topics, so we can unless you want to watch.
Talking about ED and like jock itch. What are you talking about?
No, that's way too personal. I don't.
What are we talking?
care about that. Yeah,
Oh.
we're talking about like.
We're gonna check out the Cobra Kai trailer here in a moment, and then we're gonna recap the Royal Rumble. You are welcome to stay if you want.
No, I think I'm good. I am also I'm good. Thank you. Royal Rumble is not in my repertoire. But I did appreciate your take on the Super Bowl because that is the most I have heard about the Super Bowl leading up to the Super Bowl because I have had cotton in my ears for the last couple of days with all the trades. And I'm just like, yeah, what'd you say? No, Jimmy Butler's not a Warrior yet. Hold on.
That's funny.
So
I've got the text thread to back this up. Trust me, she's been
every day this week. I was like, it hasn't happened yet, Derek. Jimmy Butler's not yet a Warrior.
No, it's not. That's what it's literally been. It's just like still no. We're waiting. So, G, thank you as always.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, welcome back anytime. We'll get you back on here for some basketball soon enough.
Maybe
have a good night.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
We're gonna need her. We're gonna need her coming up here in the later season of NBA. So we'll get her back on here soon enough one of these days. All right, gents, we have a trailer to watch, and how about a two for this week? 2 trailers, 1 week.
Yes, very fun.
All right. So, folks, we have an intro. Bob, please, if you would. Dang, it is.
What's up next week?
I'm taking a deep breath here because it seemed like not too long ago we were talking about this show being in its final season, and now we're here. This is the end of ends. Folks, we're going to be taking a look at the trailer for Cobra Kai, Season 6, Part 3. It is the last one. So let's gear it up, and let's take a view, and we'll get thoughts right after that.
All right. Let me know. You see it?
Yep.
All right. Here we go.
In the beginning, we were enemies.
Finish him!
And through the years,
You want to finish this?
we've had our battles.
Bring it on.
All of us.
Come on!
This isn't a tournament. There are no rules.
But that's only made us stronger. I guess it was inevitable. We'd end up on the same side.
And no matter the alliances we've made,
One purpose. Or the friends who have had our backs. One team.
our enemies are still out there.
What would life be without a few surprises?
We need to face those enemies and take them down once and for all.
To accomplish that as one, we need to go back to where it all began.
I know things got out of control in Barcelona.
A kid died.
Is the tournament back on? What am I even fighting for?
I wish I had the answers for you, kiddo, but I don't know.
They should fear you, and if they don't, make them.
You can beat Axel. I gave it everything I had last time. Didn't make a difference.
Nobody deserves to get their ass kicked more than that bitch.
Doesn't matter what happened last time. Doesn't matter how many people are watching. I show these assholes how we do things in the valley.
The thing The Rock does. Goosebumps.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
goes,
That's man, that's good stuff. All right. Let's go around the room. Bob, please, if you would, sir.
All right. Well, I did a reaction to this trailer on my channel.
of course you
And
did.
of course I did. Because
you
I actually have a channel. I know you talk about having one, talk the
I know.
talk, but never walk the walk. But anyway, so on that reaction and analysis, what I pointed out, what I liked about the first half of the trailer, and that's why I brought it up, Josh, because I was going to recap that. But anyway, the reason why I brought that up is because on that reaction, I said that in the first half of the trailer, what I liked is that there's a lot of recap. So it's not giving a lot of stuff away. They're actually using that first half of the trailer to recap kind of where we're at this point. But in that you see the rivalry between Johnny and Daniel, but you also see rivalries between other characters and ultimately how those characters that they're now on the same side. And you see other enemies, Chosen, Mike Barnes, and they highlight the fact that their enemies, are still out there. And then also we get to see some recap of the Sekai Taikai, and we see Quan going out, what happened to him. And so I thought that was kind of cool. And there's just enough in this trailer that whets your appetite for the new season, because it really doesn't give a whole lot away. But we do know that they're going to continue the Sekai Taikai. They're going to do it in the Valley as opposed to doing it there in Barcelona, which I guess, makes sense. They want to bring it back home for the Karate Kid franchise, have it where it all started. So I think that's kind of cool. Overall, I like the vibe that I got from the trailer. I liked everything that I saw. I think they're going to end this on a high note. I have heard some rumors, and if those rumors are true, I do think it could upset some of the fan base.
What is it?
I mean, if you want to say, I'll tell. If you want me to tell you,
Let's do it.
Derek?
Yeah, you tell me. It's all right.
Okay. So the rumor that I'm hearing is that when Robbie's fighting Axel, that at some point Robbie will get his leg broken, and you'll see Miguel then step up to either finish the fight, or I don't know if this happens like at the end of it or something like that. Now, I think that would upset fans simply because we've seen Miguel as a champ. We've seen Hawk as a champ. We've seen Sam. We've seen Tori. We've seen all these characters get theirs, and everybody's been waiting for Robbie to get his. And so I would hate for it to happen that way. But we'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully that's not the case, but that's the rumor I'm hearing going around.
Is that the only one you've heard?
Well, that's the only rumor I've heard so far.
Interesting.
It'd be kind of a shame especially after that one part in the trailer. It's like I can't beat him, and then he just doesn't.
So I'm wondering if they do go that route, if he's about to beat him, and he takes a cheap shot or something like that.
Sweep the leg.
So I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. Overall, I liked this trailer. I'm excited for the ending of Cobra Kai, and I'm curious to see how much of it, if any, will play into Karate Kid Legends. So,
sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg, Johnny.
Sweep the leg. All right, Josh, your thoughts, please.
I love the trailer. I agree with Bob. The beginning, kind of recapping everything was very well done. Very excited for the new season. In my mind, the whole show started back in 1984 with Johnny getting beaten, and then he's down on his luck. He's got to go to work. He's got to try to fix, he's a TV guy, putting TVs up and all of that. And he's come so far. So I'm trying to visualize what the finale would be. Like, is it about Johnny, getting that redemption? Is there something going to be with him? Or like what Bob said with Robbie, where he gets his...
Well, couldn't it be both?
It could be. It could be. I don't know how, you would do it with both.
Okay, hold on real quick. You mentioned redemption for Johnny. What redemption does he need now that he hasn't already gotten?
I mean, I guess for me, it still maybe haunts him from losing to Danny. And so maybe the way they started just doing the story arc that he's down on his luck. And then maybe he gets like, I don't know, maybe he gets into a fight with that other sensei, the one who Axel sensei, and maybe he takes him out and is on top. And then Robbie's on top as well. So you going from being, Robbie, who's a troubled youth, and Johnny, who's down on his luck. And at the very end, you've got both of them together on top of the world.
I think you may be overthinking it a little bit. Wouldn't it just be kind of cool that Robbie won and Johnny got to see his son win?
That could be cool too. I'm down with it. I'm absolutely down. I'm just throwing out ideas here and just, from what I've seen, because we've all seen every episode. So I'm just trying to, he was so like down on his luck. But yeah, Bobby, you're right. He came back. He's got a family now.
See, that's why I think he's already got that redemption. That's the only reason I ask, because to me, I just don't see what redemption he can't have, because he's part of Miyagi-Do. That he and his rival, granted, yeah, they still bicker at each other, but for the most part, they've been able to work together when they need to. Right. And he's got the family. He's got a relationship now with his son. He's got a close relationship with Miguel, who was his first student. So, I mean, and he's going to be a dad. So about the only thing I think that you could do with him is get him married. I mean, beyond that, I just don't see what other redemption he would need. I get what you're saying. You want to see him have like a victorious moment, like in battle. But again, I think he's already had those two on the show. So I think if for Johnny, I think that victorious moment would be to see his son victorious.
And that could be one thing for both of you gentlemen that I want them to take out. Hopefully they don't talk about it again, is the whole Miyagi thing. I really didn't like that much.
Well, I think they still need to close it out, because it's not like, remember, these episodes were already filmed. It's not like the previous stuff came out and they're like, oh, the audience didn't like it, we can take it out. No, this was all done. They're just releasing it in segments. So they're going to need to close that story out in some fashion.
Got it. What do you think, Derico?
So the reason that I think we've come to love this show is because, and call it cheesy however much we want to, folks, what this show does beyond well is it links stuff from the past into the present.
Yes.
It does an incredible job of doing that just about all the way through. And it doesn't just do that with the movie, which it does an awesome job of. It plays very well off the previous seasons and the story arcs that they made from there. So this is going to be the culmination of that. And yes, this trailer was cheesy too. And guess what? I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. It's great. The fact that they're the best around is the way they wrap that. That's just
that's an A+.
Chef's kiss. All right, come on, that's great.
Yes.
So
and it goes back to the idea of we're going back to where it all started.
Yep.
Exactly. And then seeing the Tri-Valley tournament, like the fist symbol on the floor.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah, they did it well.
And that's what I'm saying. They pull everything from past experience into the present. And no matter how cheesy it is, we fall for it every single time. And I don't think we're going to stop falling for it. Not now. It's going to be way too
writing. Good. This goes back to what we've talked about for years.
Writing. Yeah.
When Bobby and I have complained about Star Wars, Bobby always brings back to Cobra Kai and how they did it right.
Yeah. And they did do it right.
And you can have the cheese factor, but you've had such fantastic writing that we're okay with the cheese.
The cheese also does come from the fact that this is an 80s movie. Like, it's an 80s movie with a lot of cheese in it. So if it's already based off that, you're going to welcome it because that's part of why you love it.
Right.
So I have no problem with that. There's been certain seasons of Cobra Kai that have been more cheesy than others.
Right.
Like sometimes they lay it on just a bit thick, but I'm still here for it. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah, fantastic. I can't wait for next week.
It's going to be very, very. I cannot believe this is going to be next week. Dear Lord.
This starts next Thursday. So we'll have. So we would have already filmed next week's show. We'll have a little over a week to watch it, and hopefully, unless anything changes, we should have Lily on to discuss Cobra Kai with us. So
Nice.
The first review. Excellent. Can't
Very
wait.
cool. All right.
Well, I'm excited for it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good time. And Bob, to your point, I do wonder how it's going to tie into the movie this summer.
Yeah.
Or if I don't, maybe I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But I would really like to think that it would.
you know what I think they're going to do, and this is just off the top of my head. I don't think we're going to see any of the characters from Cobra Kai, but you might hear a name drop here and there.
Yeah.
Or maybe you'll see Daniel like on the phone with Amanda or something like that. Maybe that we don't see Amanda, but he just, you see him on the phone and then he's like, oh yeah, I was on with my wife, Amanda, or something like that.
Do you think we see William Zabka?
I don't think so. I think they're going to keep the focus on Daniel and Jackie Chan. Now, would I like to see William Zabka make a quick cameo? There, sure. Why not? Because we know there is a scene where Jackie Chan comes to find Daniel and it's there at Mr. Miyagi's house. Maybe you catch a moment where Zabka shows up.
Yeah.
But who knows? I don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll see.
It is going to have to be something where they tie both worlds together. So how much of each world they use to tie, that is the question. And maybe that is William Zabka. But yeah,
or maybe here's the thing. Maybe whoever, maybe Robbie or in case the rumor's right, Miguel ends up winning the Sekai Taikai. Maybe that's where Jackie Chan will come to seek Daniel out because Daniel is the sensei for the last Sekai Taikai winner. So
could be.
That could be fun.
Maybe that's how that could play in. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I'm just, again, spitballing because I do think you want to include at least a couple of elements from Cobra Kai, but I don't think you need to include all of it. I mean, you just need a few things because you don't have 6 seasons of Cobra Kai and not mention at least a couple of things. Again, it could be a name drop. It could be, just something small, but I think the focus is going to be on the new Karate Kid as well as Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio's characters. So
yeah, I was about to say you're really going to have to get to Mr. Han's story too because we haven't seen him for quite a while. So they have to bring that into the thick of this too. So
yeah,
we'll see. It'll be fun. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Well, that was good viewing. All right, to the final topic for the evening, gents. Bob,
all right.
Nicely done. Keep those clips short, Bob. WWE holds their copyrights very dear. So, well done with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, Saturday happened. We're on the road to Mania, the road to Vegas. We have a lot of thoughts. There's a lot to talk about here. I can't believe I'm going to do this. Josh, I'm going to give you the floor first.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Let me just ask this.
Go ahead.
Are we talking the whole event as a whole? Are we talking just the Rumbles? What are we doing?
Okay.
Give your recap of it, what you thought. What are your impressions? Where is this going? What do you think of the results?
Okay. I'm a little bit different than you guys. So let's just start out with the Rumbles. Overall, I thought it was a great show. The Women's Rumble, as you know, I picked Charlotte to win. No surprise there. She won. Personally, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think someone who's been injured for over a year just comes in and wins the Rumble and gets a title shot. To me, you've got all these other women, including Chelsea Green, who the two of you have raved about, who got all the fans booed when she got eliminated. Why you couldn't push her? Or, yes, Alexa Bliss came back. And the both of you, we've all three discussed this. Yes, Alexa Bliss has been injured, but she hasn't won the title that much. Charlotte Flair's been a 14-time world champion. Like, I don't see what it is. Derek had a good point just the other day, Bob, when he told me, he said, look, Josh, it's probably because she's a Triple H girl. And that's where he goes. She's coming back. Why not do it? I know a lot of fans are not happy. You know, I thought the beginning of the event, the Rumble for them, was very sloppy. I thought there were a lot of mistakes, and then it started to pick up when you got more of the, you know, veterans in there. It got better. I love seeing Trish in there. Again, Alexa Bliss being in there was, you know, great. I'm trying to think. Bailey, you know, did a good job, but there were just so many little scenes in that I just was not, you know, at the beginning. It just was, you know, a ton of botches. Men's Royal Rumble, I absolutely loved. It gave me surprises. It was entertaining. I have no issue with Jey Uso winning it. I know you guys will talk about it later. I just thought it was something different. Look, this whole WrestleMania season is built around John Cena. It's built around John Cena going to WrestleMania. And you both know my feelings on having 2 world titles. It's ridiculous. Because right away, Jey Uso has to say, oh, well, I'm challenging Gunther. Of course, because this is about Cena fighting Cody. I don't know why you have to have the 2 titles. Bobby said it perfectly. He said the other title is like the old school Intercontinental title. It is. And so, yeah. I saw Penta. I love seeing Penta, but that was definitely a mistake. Both feet touched the ground, and they kind of had to not think about it and just go forward. Love
Referee's
Michael
decision
Cole.
is final, Josh.
I know. Love Michael, and this is my floor right now. Love Michael Cole. The fact that he mentioned dirt sheets on a pay-per-view event, if Vince was still in charge, you would have never gotten that. So I thought that was just so cool. Ladder match with Cody and Kevin Owens was insane. We knew Cody was going to win. You know, that ending with going through the ladder was crazy. I didn't catch the entire match, but I saw halfway through.
Watch the rest of it, dude.
I do. I will. And then the tag titles, I saw the first fall. But those really, to me, was the Rumble. And I just don't understand the Charlotte Flair thing. I wish just somebody would explain why somebody who's been injured for over a year, who's held the title 14 times, needs to come back and automatically win the Rumble. When you have all these girls busting their butts year in and year out. And no, sorry, we're not going to give any of you a title shot.
Hold on, Josh, just real quick. What is it more that bothers you more? The fact that she was sidelined so long, or the fact that she's won the title so much? And the only reason I ask is because you had no problems with Cody Rhodes doing it.
No. It's winning the title so much.
Okay, so the injury is not the problem here. The
No.
problem is you just don't want to see Charlotte have another title.
No, it's the fact that I spoke last week and I said Charlotte's winning. Charlotte's winning. Derek made great observations. Like who Derek picked would have been fantastic. Would have been great. Everything that Derek said last week, if it had happened, would have been great.
Okay.
Didn't happen. And it was the obvious thing that Charlotte won. So that's me.
Well, okay. I had some other thought. You know what? I'm going to wait my turn. Okay. Josh, are you done?
I'm done.
Bob, to you, sir.
All right. So first off, when it comes to the tag team championship match,
yeah,
it went down almost exactly as I said that it would. That it was going to be a wrestling match, and then at the end of the match, they remembered that they were in it for storytelling, and that's when they screwed the Motor City Machine Guns and DIY through cheating and outside interference, ended up holding on to the titles. I was fine, although the match itself I thought was kind of cool, but it wasn't anything to write home about either. I mean, it was okay. The World Championship match, the Undisputed Championship match, was great. The ladder match, the bumps that they took were good. Lord. Kevin Owens, he sold a lot of that. My understanding is he helped put a lot of that together. So I was impressed. Great job in that match. I liked the way that it played out, and it set up a future feud for Kevin Owens by having Sammy get involved somewhat in the match. It didn't go exactly as the way that I predicted, but he did show up at ringside, and they're building some storyline off of that, and as we saw on Raw. As far as the two Rumbles themselves, I went off with a pretty off-the-wall pick last week. Part of the reason I went off with an off-the-wall pick was because Charlotte Flair was the obvious choice. This was pretty obvious that this was what was going to happen. Now, unlike Josh, I have no problems with her being back in the world title picture. I understand the argument of, well, she's been champ so many times. Well, if we're going to use that argument, then John Cena shouldn't even be getting a title shot, where he shouldn't even be competing for a world championship or anything like that. So what you can't say, well, it's okay for one, but it's not okay for the other.
But he hasn't been champion in years. Like, he's been like, they've treated him like crap. And you've said that, Bob.
Well, I agree with that. But when was Charlotte last champ too?
2023.
It's been a couple years.
She lost it to Rhea. That was the last time she was champ.
I mean, yeah, but she was injured last year. Come on.
Okay, yeah, it's been a couple years. So, also Charlotte, she's good on the mic. She's got charisma. She's a good wrestler. That match against Rhea that she had with WrestleMania, that was the match of the night that night.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something else. I assumed, and I still think she's going to pick Tiffany.
Yeah.
But after the promo she did with Rhea,
yeah,
I wouldn't be opposed to them having a rematch, because that would be a trilogy of matches between the two of them. They each have one win apiece at WrestleMania. I'd give it another shot. It's not a foregone conclusion that that Charlotte's going to get a world championship. They could have put her in there because they want to draw money. I mean, there's still some name power there. I mean, there's a lot of name power that goes that could be in this WrestleMania, and I think Charlotte Flair brings that. That brings me to my next point. And now we're getting to Jey Uso. I completely understand why they're giving Jey a shot at the title at WrestleMania. I completely get it. He is the most over wrestler on the roster. I think he's put in years of hard work, and I get what they're doing, or I get why they're doing it. Long term, I don't know if this is the best move, simply because what I'm fearing happens here, and this isn't, again, a knock on Jey Uso. I'm afraid that a match with Gunther, because I think we're all pretty sure he's going to pick Gunther. A match with Gunther.
He already did.
No, he didn't.
I thought he picked it that night.
No.
They said at the Rumble.
He said he's going to. He said after he talked to Gunther on Monday night, he's going to go talk to Cody now.
Cody, yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
My guess is we won't get his pick until the press conference.
Probably not.
Okay.
So anyway, what I think, I don't see the benefit of the long-term storytelling, and what I'm afraid of is that you're going to end up with a situation similar to WrestleMania 18, where Rock and Hogan were really the main event, even though they weren't the last match, where you had Jericho and Triple H, and nobody cared about Jericho and Triple H again. So, or cared after they saw Rock and Hogan. I think you have a similar situation here, because they're already talking about the possibility of having Roman, Rollins, and CM Punk in a triple threat match. To me, that's the main event of night one. And what I think is going to end up happening is that the match with Gunther although I do think it's deserved for Jey Uso, I think it's going to get relegated to being an opener on night 2. And I just don't see the long-term benefit. I think it would have been better to have Jey win the title at another pay-per-view or another PLE than at WrestleMania. Now, again, I understand why they did it. And I completely get it because I'm not taking anything away from Jey Uso. I'm just saying I don't right now see the long-term storytelling or the benefit to long-term storytelling with this matchup. Now, again, I could be wrong. They may do some stuff over the next couple of months because we do have some time. They may do some stuff over the next couple of months that really, really hypes that matchup. But it's just with the other big names on the roster, I'm afraid that match is going to get overshadowed. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay. Any response, Josh?
No, I mean, I get what he's saying. You know, I guess for me, I look at it, and again, it has to do with having 2 titles, which Derek, you and I, since college, have hated.
Okay, but Josh, they're not giving it up. Okay, there's nothing we can do about that right now.
I know. So you've got, you're trying to push somebody new.
Real quick, let me add this real quick. I had predicted Cena to win the whole thing.
Right.
And when I saw Punk eliminate Roman and Rollins, and then Punk get eliminated right after that, I was like, oh my God, they're going to give this to Jey Uso.
Yeah, that was it.
At that point. That's what gave it away to me at that moment.
Yep.
And my thought then, when Cena lost was, oh my God, they're going to have Cena jobbing all year long to put guys over.
No.
But it makes sense that he didn't win the Rumble because they want to have him for Elimination Chamber, and he couldn't be in Elimination Chamber if he already had the title shot for winning it at the Rumble. And you, Derek, had already said you thought Cena was going to win Elimination Chamber. Yeah. So I guess that makes sense. So Cena not winning it makes sense story-wise. Again, I just don't see the benefit for Jey Uso winning. But again, I think he's an extremely over wrestler, and for a reason. I mean, he's great on the mic. He's got a lot of charisma. And so I think he's doing a good job with that. I just don't know long-term how that benefits to have him win the title at WrestleMania, given the other names that are on the roster and what that could do to his match with Gunther.
Let's hear it, Derek.
All right. I am going to say, up until a certain point, this was a dang fine show. It was. The look of the show was great. The camera angles were unreal. That was some of the most fun. Just some of the shots they had through it. That was some of the most fun watching how they were pulling that off. That was great. Yeah, looked great. Big feel. I did not know that. What was the attendance? Like 77,000, something like that, which is a huge Rumble. But it was a Lucas Oil.
60,000. I thought I heard, but.
Well, either way, I mean, they don't usually do shows like that at a football field.
Here, I'll look it up.
Okay, yeah, they usually save those for baseball fields, but this one did it, and it looked great. They pulled it off. The women's Rumble. I'll start there. I'll go
according, real quick before you get into that. WWE claimed that the Rumble attendance was 70,000, 347. However, on an on-screen graphic, I guess during the event itself, they displayed 65,407. So it's hard to know. Yeah, we know wrestling; they love to exaggerate their stuff. So
but still, 65,000 to 70,000 people. If it's somewhere in there, that's big business. I mean, that's like I said, they usually don't do these at the football stadiums. They usually do them at indoor baseball like stadiums. So that's killer. That's killer business. And it's going to be the home to WrestleMania. I don't know when, but it will be. That's coming up too. So great on them for that. Let's talk about the women's Rumble. I thought it was solid. I mean, I didn't see how much messiness. Yeah, there were a couple of botches, but it didn't bother me. When they really started to get cooking, I thought, was when we got into the last half. We got into the back half of the Rumble. That was when things really started coming alive. It got really fun after that. And that's when you had like your big surprises, like your Jordan Graces, your Alexa Blisses, like the momentum really started to speed. Trish Stratus. It was very, very fun on that level. Josh, I got to tell you, you missed a part of what I said when we talked about the Charlotte win. Can I tell you the part you missed?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I said she was a Hunter favorite. However, I also said this. We've talked before, and I think we really do think that we did want to see Tiffany versus Charlotte, right?
Right.
And now we're saying a little different. I get it. If I get Charlotte versus Rhea again, I'm gonna lose my mind. That's gonna be great. But she only can get to that position one of two ways. This was one, the chamber was the other. So the chamber, you can't be mad at her for following one of those two avenues. She has to get there somehow. Are you saying you wanted to run the chamber instead?
No, I mean, I know people had talked about her facing, Tiffy, but it just is like, it was just, I don't know. Maybe it was just talking to you the other day and you said Bianca Belair should have come in and, I mean, it's someone different, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it to the both of you. She's won the title way too much in a very short time. And you got to give it, literally the only reason she wasn't probably champion last year is because she was injured.
How long has she been a wrestler?
2014, 10 years.
It's around there, yeah. Somewhere around there.
And
all right. I think
you also just real quick. Just to kind of I understand you're saying, well, she's won it in too short of a time.
Correct.
The careers for the women tend not to last as long for the men. That's just a fact. It
right.
tends not to happen.
Okay.
The other thing is you got to keep in mind the women's division, it doesn't have the same number of talent that the men's does as far as numerically. And so by default, with her name and her star power, she was going to get it more times. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, you could make an argument that Becky Lynch has won it too many times in a short amount of time too.
Well, and let's also, and that gets you think about this too. Bob, this goes to your point. Back in 2014, it's not like the women's roster was even near as big as it is now.
That's my point. Yeah, numerically, just didn't have it.
Yeah, and it's very big, and it's still smaller than the guys. So, if you only have certain wrestlers who can do this and pull it off, of course they're going to put the belt on her. If she's really that good at wrestling, which she is, yeah. I mean, if that's the situation you're in, your options are a little limited.
But don't you want to give other girls a chance and see
girls have been getting a chance? Okay, I don't know exactly the argument in how just because of her, I don't think it's that girls aren't getting the chance. Tiffany Stratton wearing that belt right now is an example of that.
So Tiffany should beat Charlotte at WrestleMania.
I think that would actually probably be very feasible. I think Charlotte would
have. Doesn't that ruin Tiffany Stratton?
Or Rhea Ripley?
No, it doesn't ruin it.
No, it doesn't
ruin it. Just because somebody loses, that doesn't mean it ruins them.
Well, no, but you've got to look at them that you've gone I mean, that would be a big win for Tiffy.
Yeah, of course.
No, and the only reason I point that out is because you made mention Braun Breaker because Roman Reigns in your mind no-sold a spear, but he still got eliminated by Roman Reigns, the top guy in or arguably the top guy on the roster, minus Cody Rhodes, and so that wouldn't ruin Braun Breaker. I mean, Braun Breaker's still a beast. I don't think losing to Charlotte Flair would hurt Tiffy. Now, I think I think if she goes up against Tiffy, I think Tiffy wins it. I don't think Charlotte's going to win at WrestleMania, but I could be wrong. I mean that maybe they put the title back on her. I mean, I didn't expect them to put the title back on Becky Lynch when they did.
Right.
So, but I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, because remember this last time they put it back on Becky Lynch, they did it because they needed a transitional champ.
Right.
And that was because of Rhea's injury.
And it is the fact that she is a big name. You know, I know you might not like that, Josh, but she's a big name. And that star power you can use at Mania. And if it isn't one of those spots, if she doesn't win, the name helped then. It did Tiffany justice if she beats her.
Exactly.
She is put on that platform.
So you're telling me there's no other woman in there besides Rhea, Charlotte?
Is that what I said?
Becky and
Is that what I said?
No, I'm just curious. I want to understand it because I'm not understanding from what you're saying. You're talking about star power, but you guys aren't mentioning any other.
Bianca Belair held the title for over a year.
Okay. Don't you think it's time for other women who have been busting their butts to come in and be champion and to take it to the next level?
Tiffany Stratton is a perfect example of that. Nia Jax holding it again like she did is a perfect example of that. Bayley getting it again. Forgot about her, didn't you?
No.
So,
all right, Josh. Okay, I want to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Because you said another star getting an opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, just give me a name. Who would you have liked to have seen? I want to play devil's advocate, but give me a name.
Chelsea Green.
Okay, Chelsea Green. So Chelsea Green, who would she have challenged in your mind? Probably Tiffany, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what does more for Tiffany's career? Beating Chelsea Green or beating Charlotte Flair?
Beating Charlotte Flair.
Thank you.
But what if Charlotte Flair beats her?
Okay, I get that. But we're assuming that if she's in a match with Tiffany, more than likely, since Tiffany just won the title, that she's probably going to hold on to it a little bit longer.
That's what I hope.
They're trying to make her a star here too.
And let's assume, even if she does lose to Charlotte Flair, you could get a trilogy out of that.
Yeah, you could. That'd be fun.
Okay. Derek, go ahead with the rest of your stuff.
All right. By the way, Josh, I need to say this. The beginning of the women's Rumble was not bad at all because we got to see a very long Liv Morgan intro. Yeah. So you should appreciate that.
It was nice.
That's always good. That's always good.
Thank you.
I was talking about like picks 5 to 9. There was just a lot of sloppy stuff, but it ended up being good.
Hey, with all those ladies in the ring, none of it was sloppy.
All right. It didn't hurt to see Trish Stratus come back either. That was nice.
She's incredible.
To the second match with the tag titles. It was actually very, very fun, but they only gave them like 15 minutes. And for a 2 out of 3 falls match, you would think you'd get a little more than that. But hey, it ended in a very surprising way. I did not expect to see the Street Profits at the end of that thing.
Yeah.
So you got me. Well done. Well done. The ladder match was a brutal work of art. That was how you want to see a feud end. We have now had 2 matches that end in such brutal fashions that have really been culminations of awesome, awesome storytelling. Drew and Punk was the first. This was the second. And you don't really think you think ladder matches, you usually think of them as like these high-flying, death-defying matches, which generally they are. But this wasn't any of that, man. This was raw, brutal hatred. And I'm going to use some hardware to do it just so I can see myself climb that ladder and have that moment. They weren't doing any flying around. They were just beating the hell out of each other. It was great. Just magnificent. And I recommend to anybody, wrestling fan or not, go watch that, please. All right. Let's get to the men's. Like I said, I thought this was a fantastic, fantastic show. And up to a certain point, the men's Rumble was also great. I loved just about all of that until we got to the final 6. And then once those eliminations started happening, you realized by the end of it, with the winner, you got a popcorn fart. That's what you got. Okay? I can't begin to explain how just wrong this is. It's just none of this is going to end up good. It won't. So I'm going to start with why this is just bad news. The first one I'm going to make is the most irrelevant, but it's I think worth bringing up. That was a really awful way for John to go out in his last Rumble. He got pushed on the ground like a kid at like a kid playing in the playground. I mean, does that make him really look great for his farewell tour? So that's the first point. The second point is the fact that Jay is not a singles wrestler, Josh. He's just not. Mr. Wrestling should know what wrestling is. He ain't it. He's great with his brother.
He's been a singles wrestler for a year and a half now.
And he hasn't been great through all of that. Thank you.
Why don't they put them back together?
Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So the fact that we now have to, like Bob said, yeah, of course it's obvious that they could go that way. Yes, he's way over. He's the biggest merch seller in the company. His shirts with all the colors they have, yes, I get it. That doesn't mean he can wear a belt as a singles champion and be taken seriously in any measure whatsoever. Him against Gunther, and here's what's also sad. This is the point number 3. The fact that he has to put over this clown show, and he is going to. Jay is going to win. Be not mistaken. They're not doing this without taking it to the bank. They're going to look to capitalize. So the fact that Gunther has to put him over, and then Jay is going to win a world title, it's going to expose him even more. And people are going to finally, because now the chase is done. He's a world champ, and now he's going to be exposed for not being all that great because people are going to get past the party time. They're going to expect more out of him. And then once that happens and we all see it, that is the moment where he drops that belt and he is going to go back to his brother. And then they'll be the team they always were, which has been it. I love the Usos. I love that tag team. So that's where I think this all ends up. The best thing they can do right now is put that. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm going to take it even a step further. The best thing they can do is put that match 1, night 1, and get it out of the way and don't speak of it again until they have to the next night. That if you really did like this, Josh, there were a bunch of other ways you could have done a surprise here, and they took advantage of none of them. So it was great until that moment. That's it. You have anything you want to ask me?
Who?
You guys.
Oh, go ahead, Bob.
He's not asking me, he's asking you.
No, he said both of us.
Okay, well,
I have nothing I want to ask you.
Because
look, I already told you my feelings on it. I think the match is going to get overshadowed by another one on the roster or another one on the card. I just don't see how that doesn't happen, especially when you still have like let's assume that they do have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, even if it's just a singles match. I think that's more of a main event.
Yeah.
Than the other one, especially because that's how many years in the making?
Oh, Jay and Gunther isn't main eventing. Get everybody needs to get that out of their head right now. That's not happening.
And that's kind of defeats the purpose of
winning the
of
Rumble.
having of the Royal Rumble winner, because the whole point is the Royal Rumble winner is supposed to main event WrestleMania.
They don't always these days.
Yeah, we know that. Part of the problem is because you have two champs, and also because let's face it, the Royal Rumble winner, you've got the ladies like, I get to go main event WrestleMania. No, you don't. You're not going to main event WrestleMania, because there's just not the star power on the ladies card. The only time we've had one with that type of star power was Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair.
Although the Rhea Charlotte match could have main evented. With the
that could have too. And that was because it was just so dang good.
Yeah. So then let me ask this: where do we go from here? What does Mania look like now? I mean, are they going to do that triple threat?
Well, I'm hearing that they want to do the triple threat.
Excuse me.
I'm even hearing the possibility of a fatal 4-way. Have Drew McIntyre added to the mix.
Yikes.
But I think if anything, you do a triple threat. But to be honest, I'd much rather just see a singles match between Rollins and Reigns, just simply because I think that is 10. That's what 10 years in the making, even more.
It's a blood feud.
Yeah, so I think that's where you go with that. Obviously, you're going to have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, unless you do it at Elimination Chamber because it's in Canada.
And that's when Randy comes back.
So there's another one, Randy Orton. We don't know where that's going to go.
Nope.
If you do decide to do Charlotte and Rhea number 3, that could easily be the main event of night 1. So there's still some interesting places that this could go. I think we'll have a better idea the full card once Elimination Chamber's over, because then we'll have our championship matches set, and then that's where you'll see the other feuds begin to develop. So
we'll know full scope by then, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not everything, but a lot of it will be determined by that point.
So would Charlotte and Tiffy main event night 1?
I don't know.
I don't think so. If she chooses Rhea, that's got the star power with both. And it's not a knock on Tiffany Stratton. It's just that she's a youngster. She's still new to this. That's why I say if you have her beat Charlotte, that does a lot for her career.
Yeah, it does.
So as of today, penciled in, it's the 3-way. It's Roman, Seth, and CM Punk as of today.
That's what I'm hearing, but I'd rather see the a singles match between
I would too.
Roman and Rollins.
How come now? I've heard other things. What if Cena fought Gunther, and then Cody? I've heard 2 things. Obviously Cody fights Jay, or Cody fights Randy Orton.
He won't fight Randy Orton if Cena is fighting Gunther. Jay is locked into a world title match now.
Jay gets one of them.
Unless he puts that world title chance up on the line at the Elimination Chamber.
He's not going to do that. It doesn't make sense story-wise.
Okay, so does Gunther? How about the star power of Gunther versus Cena?
But again, that would be a good match. But then if you do that, you're going to have Jay versus Rhodes. Jay is locked in to a world title match. So if we're going to do Gunther versus Cena, which I think would be fun, especially given the heel babyface storyline, it's not. Then you have Jay versus Rhodes, and I don't think that has the same star power that Rhodes versus Cena would have.
Yeah, that's not where the money is. It's not. Jay facing Cody is SummerSlam at best. It's not. Cody versus Cena is where the money is right now. And you know what? It's sad because John and Gunther was actually the match I really did want to see.
Yeah.
And now they took it in a different direction. So it's not going to be Jay and Cody though.
The way to do it would have been to have somebody else win the Rumble.
Yep.
And maybe a CM Punk or I don't know, a Randy Orton or somebody like that. Get them in a match with Cody Rhodes, and then you have Cena win the Elimination Chamber and do a feud with Gunther going into WrestleMania. And of course, you have Cena then win his 17th.
It's just like, what's this triple threat going to be for? There's just
because they have nothing else to do with them. That's why.
Well, that's okay. That's not true. Roman and
There's
Seth,
a lot you can do with them.
Yeah,
Rock's not wrestling. It was supposed to be Rock versus Roman.
I understand, but Roman and Seth is now. Once they saw that on that, all it took was that stare down.
Okay, so Roman and Seth, I absolutely agree. that should be a match.
Yeah.
So then what do you do with CM Punk?
Logan Paul. That's the guy who eliminated him. He cost him his chance to get into the main event.
Okay.
And remember, Josh, that prior to that, Punk had done a promo with Kevin Owens saying, "Oh yeah, I've never lost to Logan Paul."
Mm-hmm.
But now he's been eliminated by Logan Paul, so he's got to get that back.
Okay, so why don't they do that? Why do they want to do the triple
Well,
threat?
we don't. I mean, it's nothing's set in stone yet. We don't know.
Where's more money? CM Punk versus Logan Paul, or CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins?
I think if you split that up into two singles, that's actually where the money really is.
I think the money's probably the same either way, except if for Logan Paul, you want him to fight a big name. And
Which
I think
could be AJ.
That possibly,
Maybe.
but I think it would be him against CM Punk makes sense.
The problem is
going with Punk. Does Punk really want to fight him at Mania, or in Punk's mind,
Punk wants to make money. Punk
Right.
has said multiple times, Punk wants to make money,
and that money is the triple threat.
I don't
know about
necessarily
that.
agree with that.
As much as I hate it, I think it's the triple threat.
No, I think the feud that Punk and Logan Paul could get into would be real
It
fun.
would be great. And then, by the way, McIntyre's fighting Damian Priest.
Well, it looks like that. I don't know.
It looks like it, but I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of that to do that feud all over again, just simply because I think we could have done something else with McIntyre.
Actually, that's the problem now. Well, McIntyre's options are starting to get limited, but
Right.
we do have an idea for him. Tell him whose game this is. LA Knight? Yeah.
That would be good too.
That could work.
I mean, they've been kind of just sitting around with LA Knight. They got to figure out if they want him to be a main event level caliber
Right.
guy or
Well,
not.
what ruined him is they had him fight Roman when he was at the top of his game in Saudi Arabia, and we all knew he wasn't going to win.
No, the loss didn't ruin him. It's the floundering in between that and to Rumble last year that ruined him.
What was he at the Rumble last year? What happened?
He was in a fatal four-way with Roman, AJ, and Randy.
That's right.
For the title.
They did push him, but they just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to do it, and have Drew help him get to that level.
Yeah, Drew can definitely
Drew
do
can
it.
do it
I
with
would
anybody.
still love a chance with the title again with Drew.
Oh, for sure. Yes, I don't think Drew's
he
done in that.
deserves it. I think he
base at
deserves
all.
it. I think he deserves it, and I don't know when that'll happen. If
I
it'll
think once they figure out what a Sham J is, Drew claymores him and takes that belt away from him. I think
He's got to get He's got to get back at Jay. It's because Jay never apologized.
No, he didn't. He never apologized. And I love the fact that I love the fact that he was yelling at Shinsuke to beat up Roman. It's his fault, Shinsuke. It's like, oh my god, it was so good.
Look, Drew is a man of the people. So
he is.
Joe Henry wants to fight Cena at Mania. He keeps saying.
We know that's not going to happen now, don't we? So let's move on.
Fight me.
Look, I believe in Joe Hendry, but not for Mania. So.
Oh, I don't know. All right.
Well, I think it'll be an interesting road to watch. That's for sure. So let's all stay tuned. But that, I think, covers the turf, gents. And yet another pleasurable evening with a lot of fun topics. So thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody watching. Social media. Let's hit it. Bob, feel free.
You can catch me on my YouTube channel. Was it good? Bob Loves Movies, all one word. You can also find me on Critic List and on X. And as usual, all of our social media will be in the description below.
Thank you, sir. Josh, to you.
You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and LinkedIn. I'm the Family Man of the Valley. I'm a realtor here in Southern California.
All right. Well, if Jay has a hard time finding a job after he loses his world title, he can always go to LinkedIn, which is where you can find me, as well as Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Poor Jay.
He's doing just fine.
He
Don't
doesn't
worry.
deserve this. Let him give him a chance. See if he can be successful. And if he can't run with it, he doesn't
for
run
all
with
this all elite talk that you've been doing when it comes to wrestling and saying who can and who cannot wrestle, this should have been a slam dunk for you to see what we see.
it.
Okay?
Oh, of course. Now you guys don't like it. It's something different, and you guys hate it.
I never said I hated it.
No.
I said it doesn't make sense to me.
No,
I
It does make
understand
sense
why
to you
they did
because
it.
you're about
See,
the
again,
money.
you
He's a
try to
money
put words into my mouth.
No,
You take
I'm
half
not.
of
No,
what
no,
I
shut
say
up. I'm
fit
not
to
saying
fit
that.
your narrative.
This is what I'm trying to tell you is you always tell me who leads merchandise sales. Right now, Jey
When
Uso
do I tell
is
you
leading
that?
merchandise sales. Oh, don't you talk about it all the time.
All the time? When was
You
the last time I
talk
talked
it all
about
the
that?
time. You say, who has the most merchandise sales? Cody Rhodes. Who has the most merchandise sales? Roman Reigns. Who has the most merchandise? But now that it's Jey, you're a liar, Bob. You're lying, and you know it. I listen to everything you
Lord.
say.
I've
just
probably
trying to
told him
change
maybe
it up.
1 or 2 times that a guy was leading in merch sales, and and I understood why they did
And
it.
you- and
Hold
both of
on.
you-
Did I not just say that a little while ago he was the most over wrestler on the
Yes,
roster?
and that's why he's
Okay,
getting
so
the
I
shot.
understand why
Yeah.
they did it. Don't try to put words into my mouth. Take half of what I say to
No, I
fit
did not.
your narrative.
And Derek also can't figure out why he's so why he's getting the title shot because he's so popular.
No, he
just-
understands why.
I understood
I told
plenty.
you I don't. He understands it. He doesn't
Derek's
like it.
getting the stupid
I'm
face.
telling
They
you,
know what
I
he's
don't
talking
see the
about.
long-term benefit
I have been
because
watching
of
this
who
for over
else
30
has
years.
to get booked.
This was perfect. This was great. It was a good surprise. And again, he's probably fighting Gunther for a title that nobody cares about. So it doesn't matter. This is a WrestleMania about John Cena. If The Rock were there, it would have been The Rock versus Roman Reigns. That's probably what this would have been about. And then Cena would have faced Gunther, probably.
Okay,
And then
okay.
it
Just
would
real
start.
quick to your point there, that this is about Cena, and so
Yeah.
what you're saying is nobody cares about him and Gunther because you just said it's about a title that nobody cares about.
Yes, I told you guys that the other night, but I still appreciated the surprise they did in the Rumble.
Okay, so you're going to tell me that they couldn't have put somebody else then against it where people would have cared about it?
Because they decided because Jey Uso is the most over guy right now, and they figured they would do that and it would be something different. Hey, it was fine. It worked out.
Let me
I'm
ask you
totally
though,
fine with this.
if you had put John Cena against Gunther, because you just mentioned that, would you
Yeah.
have cared then about that match? Especially if you had put somebody like a CM Punk or a Randy Orton or somebody like that up against Cody Rhodes, would you have cared then about that match?
No,
You wouldn't have cared?
I wouldn't have cared.
You would not have cared about Cena and Gunther.
It would have been a good match. I would have.
Right. That's
Hey.
exactly right. It's exactly right.
Look, they did it. It's over and done with, and that's it.
It's stupid, and you're stupid for giving us phone.
You know, you're dumb. You are dumb. You're upset that you didn't get, the match that you wanted, and now it's different. And let's see what happens.
That's exactly what I
Okay,
said.
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at oh no, you don't Ryan Johnson me. Let me tell you that.
You got what you wanted, subverted expectations.
That is not an insult. This is wrestling. Hey, you guys are fine with Rhea.
No. All I'm saying is,
and why are you interrupting me? Well, I'm curious. Where's the mute button on this? How can I not? We really all should be able to have. I'm leaving. Great night.
No, John.
Bobby's a
All
little
I'm saying
silly.
is that it just doesn't. I can't see it. It's not that I don't appreciate Jey Uso. So again, don't sit there and say you don't like it or any of that. This has nothing to do about that, because I do think that Jey deserves an opportunity. I'm just saying what I'm afraid of is that there are bigger names on the roster, and that those matches could overtake what's intended to be a world title match, and that should hold a lot more sway than what I think it's going to.
That's happened
because
every
of who
year.
else they still got a book.
That's happened every year.
No, it
always
hasn't.
a match.
not
that-
No, it
every year.
hasn't. No, it hasn't.
You know
No,
what?
it hasn't.
You guys don't know crap. You really, really don't. You think you do, but you don't. Go back and watch WrestleManias where matches have taken precedence over other matches. Come on. How about Jericho versus Kevin Owens? That should have been a main event. That was second on the night, and it ended up being horrible. Come on. You guys just don't. Well, you just want to hear yourselves talk and be right.
How far is your head up your ass right now?
You know what? Bite me.
Okay, but Josh,
You can
you
bite yourself.
agree,
You're up there.
but you agree that it's a world title match, so it should hold more precedent, especially for the Royal
We
Rumble.
always know, no, because we know that over the years, the two stupid titles, one title is always held back. No, I totally disagree with you guys. There's always a title match that's held back. When Brock Lesnar was champ, the other title, whoever was defending it,
Okay,
was not
okay,
nearly as big.
but in all fairness,
No.
on a lot of those shows was WrestleMania 2 nights.
Yes. I'm
Not
talking
not
about in the last
all of
10
them.
years.
When
No.
did WrestleMania go to 2 nights?
Like 6 years ago, and Lesnar was champ.
Okay, so like 6 years. So that's my point. You pick the exceptions, and you're
just
trying to
saying,
make a
no,
rule out
I'm
of it.
giving you a fact.
Yes, and I already
You have to-
gave the same
You have
fact
to
that,
something
that,
about-
that Triple H and Chris Jericho got overshadowed
This
by
thing
Hogan
doesn't
and
have to
Rock.
be right
And
all
that's
the
what's going to
time.
happen here. You are so happy that Jey Uso won it. So shouldn't the guy who's the most over wrestler on the roster, shouldn't he be represented in the main event?
Yes, then put him in the main
Okay,
event.
but that's my point. You just said nobody cares about that match.
Then you know what? Put him in the main event. But I've watched wrestling long enough to know they're not going to do that.
And why is that, Josh?
Why is that? Because it's about John Cena this year and his
Okay,
retirement.
not just
If
that.
he wasn't
but-
retiring,
okay, but shouldn't they be then because we're agreeing that Cena and Rhodes should be main event of night 2, right?
yes.
Okay,
Because it's
so
Cena's
then
retirement.
shouldn't Jay and Gunther main event night 1? But he's the most over wrestler on the roster.
Yes, they should.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Do you legitimately, or do you honestly think that will happen?
No. I
Okay,
can tell you.
and
I can
why
tell you.
not?
Why not? Because they will want Roman Reigns to be their night 1.
Thank you. That's my point, is that there are bigger names you could have booked.
So you're
That's-
saying get rid of the Royal Rumble because
No, I'm not
without
saying get rid of the Royal Rumble.
Rumble,
I'm
get rid of the
saying
Rumble.
have somebody win the Royal Rumble that it makes sense.
But the Royal
Story-wise.
Rumble is about introducing new guys. New guys came in and won the Rumble who were going to be pushed. Think about it over the years. Yokozuna won the Rumble and got pushed. Okay, Rey Mysterio won the Rumble and got pushed.
Hulk Hogan won it twice back to back.
You're basically saying that the Rumble doesn't mean shit anymore.
I'm not
No.
saying that.
That's not what he said at all.
You're saying that.
No,
I'm
I'm
saying-
saying I
I'm
would
saying
love.
I'm saying that
I
you
would
have
love
somebody
for us
win
to
it
agree.
that makes sense.
I would love for us to agree and say Jey Uso versus Gunther, night 1, main event. That's it. That's what it
No,
really
but you see, that's the problem. We are agreeing. We're both agreeing that it's not going to be the main
But
event of
it
night
should.
1.
But it should be, and that's the problem with
Okay,
WWE.
you see again. You're sitting there trying to prove a point. We both agree that it should be the main event of night 1.
What do you think the chance of it being the main event?
That's my point, Josh.
5%.
5%?
Yeah.
So that's my point. If we're both agreeing that it's not going to be, there's a problem with the selection for who won the Rumble.
So blame
That's
Triple
my
H.
point.
He's the one that booked it. Ask him why he booked it the way he
No.
booked it.
No, we understand why he did it. And that's my point. Does it make sense given that even you agree that it's probably not going to be the main event of night 1? We're agreeing. We're in
We
agreement.
are agreeing, but I still think it should be. And that's my problem with WWE is that you talk about the Rumble being this huge event, this guy wins the Rumble. But you're basically saying, sorry, you won the Rumble. You don't deserve to be in the main event of WrestleMania.
Josh, that's what we're saying.
I know. I know exactly that's what you're saying. I'm just letting you guys know that it's not going to happen the way we think it's going to happen. It's going to be the triple threat because, like you guys say, it's the star power. I don't agree with it.
Okay. All right.
You see, okay. And again, Josh, you see, we're in agreement because we're saying that who wins the Rumble should main event. So we're in agreement.
Right. Derek, do you agree
it
with that?
doesn't make sense. They should not have booked Jay to win.
But they did. So, Derek, do you think it should be main event of WrestleMania Night 1?
No, not even close. I told you where I thought it should be.
Okay, what if Orton had won the Rumble? Would he have been main event Night 1 against Gunther?
Actually, if Orton had won, he would probably be facing Cody and John would be facing Gunther.
Exactly. And that would have been main event of Night 1.
Well, that
actually,
also
I think they would have flipped that.
Maybe that could have happened too. But that also, I had Rocky fighting at this Mania, and it doesn't look like he's going to be there now.
No, because then that would have been now if Rock had fought Roman, is that main event of Night 2?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
Bob, do you agree with that?
Oh God,
he's done having this conversation.
No, because he's fighting for something that he agrees with us on, but he doesn't realize he agrees with us.
I'm not. I'm just saying, do you agree? Do you think it would have been Night 1 or Night 2 if Rock versus Roman?
No, Rock versus Roman would have probably been Night 2.
Yeah, it would have ended the weekend.
And then Cena would have been Night 1.
See, that's my whole point with the Jey Uso thing. It's not that it's not deserved because he is an over wrestler, but from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense. That's the only thing I'm saying. So when you're saying, I loved it, I think it's great, but I don't like the fact that it's not going to be Night 1, but I don't like this, but I don't like that. You're contradicting yourself because, yes, I get why you like it, but you're also agreeing that it was not a good decision.
I'm just trying to give the facts and my knowledge of wrestling, what I know WWE has done in the past.
This isn't about what they've done in the past. This is about what they did this time.
If it's my opinion, yes, he should be main eventing one of the nights if he won the Royal Rumble.
Yes, but we're in agreement from a business standpoint. That's probably not going to happen. That's why I'm saying it didn't make sense. So you can love it all you want, but even you agree it's probably not going to happen because from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense. So that's my whole point. If you're going to book the Rumble, you still got to book something that makes sense, especially when you're going to have Cena on there, and it's pretty clear that he's probably going to have one of those main event spots. So the other one has to be something.
Sure, you're telling me if The Rock and Roman were fighting and Cena was fighting and got a title shot, that The Rock is still over Cena for Night 1, even though this is Cena's last WrestleMania?
No, I said that Cena and Cody would probably main event Night 1 and that Rock and Roman
Night
probably
2?
main event Night 2.
But it's Cena's last WrestleMania. Wouldn't he deserve to be Night 2?
They could do it the other way too, probably.
You could do it the other way too. Yeah, the point is that it's pretty clear they're going to give Cena one of these two main event spots.
They are.
So that's why I kept pointing out there are so many big names that still need to be booked that Jay versus Gunther is probably going to get relegated to a match in the undercard or the early card instead of in a main event spot where the winner of the Royal Rumble should be.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying it didn't make sense.
Okay. All right.
Are you sure?
Shut up.
You're the only person I know that can agree with us and still fight. You're the only one that I've ever seen that can agree with somebody but still fight for the opposite, even though he's in agreement with the other side.
I think it's absolutely pathetic that you run this huge pay-per-view called the Royal Rumble, and all you talk about for 4 straight hours is whoever wins the Rumble gets a shot at the world title at the main event of WrestleMania. Yes, using those words. But then when it comes time for WrestleMania, nope, can't put you in the main event.
Well,
and
yeah,
I agree. I agree.
Right,
The Royal Rumble winner should always be in the main event of one of the 2 nights.
That's
Period.
how it's been since what? Since 1993.
Yes, that's what should happen.
Of the Rumble.
But when you choose talent to push because you want to push them and they don't have that star power or that name power, they're going to get put on the undercard or the early card or mid card. That's what's going to happen.
Maybe not. Maybe he will main event night 1 and shut us
If
all
he
up.
does, I will be very,
very,
very
surprised.
Especially if you have Roman and Rollins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. But if you have the triple threat.
Even then, I think a triple threat.
Yeah. That's
how do we know that triple threat doesn't open WrestleMania?
That will not come close to opening WrestleMania.
Because remember, doesn't Roman have in his contract that he either opens up the pay-per-view or he finishes it? It's been like that for 4 years. It's been like that for 4 years.
No, at the last year's Rumble, he was the second match.
Was he?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just saying I'm just letting you guys know what I've read about it. That he had always said he wanted to be on first or on last. Well, so I'm just saying, right. and if you guys are saying, come on, we all hate the fact of a triple threat. We'd much rather see Reigns versus Rollins. Wait a minute. You guys said 10 years in the making, right? Didn't
I don't know the exact date.
No. But
Rollins turned.
Reigns fought Rollins at the Rumble in a singles match a couple years ago.
Yeah, different time, dude.
But remember, Josh, Seth Rollins also cost Roman the championship last year at Mania.
Yes, he did.
Because
doing the same thing, by the way.
No, I get it. I get it. It should be a singles match at Mania between them.
Yes, it should be.
Their problem is CM Punk because they don't know what to do.
We just talked about how to solve that.
Well, no, I totally agree with you with that. I just don't know if they're leaning towards that.
Well, all right. Well,
because
Hunter, if you're listening,
because you're about storytelling, right, Derek? You talk to me about storytelling all the time. What was the whole CM Punk with Paul Heyman? You owe me a favor.
That can happen at any time. That doesn't have to happen right now.
Yeah.
People are thinking it's going to happen right now. Doesn't mean it has to.
It doesn't, but I think it does happen.
Well, all right. Okay.
So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It'll be a very interesting thing. I do like the fact that Elimination Chamber is March 1st, and then we have a month and a half until Mania.
Great.
So you can build all of that up.
Yeah, it's time to build that up. Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, it's a triple threat.
Well, and that's why you make sure that your card is pretty much formulated by March 1st after that event. So then you have all that runway to build all that stuff up. So it'll be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be good, and I think it'll be we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't think The Rock's there this year.
I'll give it till Saturday. I don't see him there. I think you're right.
When is the press conference? Is next Saturday?
No, this Saturday.
Oh, it's this Saturday.
Yeah, it's in just a couple of days now. So
yeah, but and The Rock's a babyface, right?
Well, they've never really answered that, so I don't know. So that's that. Yeah. All right. Let's sign off because we were trying to sign off and then we got into that. So thank you, Josh.
You're welcome, Al. I mean,
now on that note, we can go. Thank you, gents. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Good night.